Well, you know Jules loves white tea, and what does white tea stand for? Stands for yams and taters.
Yeah.
Both different types of potatoes.
Yams and taters. Yams and taters.
It probably stands for YouTube.
Yams and taters. Got to get you some root vegetables, yams and taters.
Yams are a lot better for you than white potatoes.
Welcome to Good Mythical Morning.
Not to be racist, but it's just true.
We're all gonna weigh in on this. Support the show and entertainment by going to lynda.com/more, where you get an amazing deal. Free 10-day trial on amazing video tutorials.
I see you're looking at corporate and documentary video lighting with Eduardo Angel.
Listen, you're making videos out there and you don't forget lighting and don't forget Linda.
We made a documentary and we had to use lights.
My back is
Remember
hurting.
that?
I'm sorry. I said my back is hurting.
You okay?
It was hurting so much that it totally sucked all my thought.
My back is hurting.
I think when I brought the wheel over, like I pulled something.
Oh, you
like
should stretch before that.
Like I freaking need to stretch or something.
You can stretch all you want right now.
I shouldn't stretch now, it's afterward. I've already injured it. You actually shouldn't stretch after.
Remember D-Dub?
Yeah.
David Woodall?
What are you telling him about, the documentary?
He went around with us for that summer, toting everything around. It was just the three of us.
Mm-hmm.
It was 95 degrees every single day in Lumberton, North Carolina. And then we'd get in a place and we'd set up our little
lighting setup.
Our little light.
We had our documentary lighting set up. Shout out to D-Dub.
But if we didn't have D-Dub, we would have needed lynda.com.
Okay, that was a fun debate. I had a lot of fun. Let's fist bump to that later.
Later?
Right, later. I don't want it to be
fist bump to that later.
There couldn't be a show of solidarity here because that might sway the votes.
Now, I will say, one of the things that we talked about when we were coming up with this episode idea was it This American Life? This American Life, incredible show on NPR and podcast.
They did this debate?
They did a thing. They actually had John Hodgman, one of my favorite comedians, the PC guy from the Mac versus PC commercials. He has a great podcast as well. But he went out and did a report, basically interviewing people, asking them whether they preferred flight or invisibility, which is a common flight versus invisibility is a really common debate. But they actually found that people who preferred flight were most likely extroverts, and people who preferred invisibility were most likely introverts. And it was most telling about your personality, which incidentally, because they said that extroverts kind of like to draw attention to themselves, that kind of thing, so they're not ashamed to kind of like fly around, which
showboating. I
am an introvert technically,
air swimming,
but I am a showboat at the same time. I'm a showboating introvert, so I guess I should fly in with invisibility. But I know you're
an exhibitionist.
I relate to that. Like if I could fly, I would definitely show it off. But I'm technically an introvert because I like to be alone more than I like to be with other people. You know, I'm energized by time alone. Are you energized by groups or by being alone? But how does that strike you, Mr. Invisible?
It's true.
It's true. It really does. Well, but
yeah,
that's not my main reason for invisibility.
If you're less outgoing, you're not going to go out and fly unless you're also invisible.
But
and why is Wonder Woman's jet invisible? That's so stupid.
So she could look like she's in the seated position.
Right, it's crazy. But she should at least lay down in that.
My overarching reason is just very simply, it would be an awesome experience. I realize I wouldn't fly to like China because it would get cold and old and I'd get tired. And how much can I take? But I don't necessarily think I would probably fly to work because the commute is not that far, but I wouldn't use it for transportation.
My point about the roller coaster.
It's just more about how it wouldn't get old. Flying wouldn't get old, man.
It would get old.
Does surfing get old?
Think about if you did
Does surfing get old?
If you surf to work every single morning,
that would be the best thing ever, man.
You're believing the lie that you yourself disprove every day, Rhett. You get tired of things.
Things that are fun.
For instance, the bicycle. Think about the first person to ride on a bicycle. I guarantee you what they said was, "Oh, whoa! And then the second thing they said was, I'm gonna ride this to work every day. I'm not gonna ride it to China, but I'm gonna ride it to work every day. It's kind of like surfing, but it's on 2 wheels.
And there are lots of people who do ride their bikes to work every day. I would if I was a little bit closer.
But it's not out of sheer fun.
No, but because flying is better than biking. When you're biking, you're still around with all the humans.
When the Ferris wheel came out, they were like, whoa! And then they were like, it's the Eiffel Tower turned on its side.
There's no parallel. There's no parallel to flight.
But
Ferris wheel is not good.
You're saying, like, in the scenario that you had flight, you would be one of, if not the only person that had that superpower? Or are you saying everyone could fly? Because I feel like that's a difference.
Yeah.
Like flying would only be
There's a few
that
of us.
fun.
There's a few of us.
Yeah.
The few, the proud.
We have a
the
club.
showboaters.
We
Not
meet in a
everyone.
club in the sky that no one else can get to.
Except for Mario when the vine grows.
Yep. I wouldn't want to be the only guy in the world to fly. Because then I would be like a science experiment.
Tell me something good you can do with flight. Like, what does flight alone how does that translate into good for society? Yeah, invisibility can be creepy, but it can also be very powerful. Espionage, information, power.
Well, I mean, depends on how fast I could go.
Okay.
You know,
Oh, you could go really fast. Let's
Really
just say that
fast?
for a second. Yeah.
I could do all kinds of reconnaissance, man. I got to put on camouflage, and then like
You can do reconnaissance that like people who already do reconnaissance or drones can't
no,
already
it's like,
do.
hey man, we need to send somebody into North Korea, but we don't know how we're gonna get them out. Well, I know how I'm gonna get out. I'm gonna fly in and then fly out.
Well, you better dodge really good.
Yeah, that's why I got a camo.
Like the sky camo?
It changes, it's sky and then it's grass.
Oh, so you're invisible. Okay.
I mean, invisibility and flight, having both would be an amazing thing.
That's what makes it such a great team.
But
I would
here's the
have to
thing.
like,
Here's the thing.
hang on to your stomach like a koala baby, and like when they look up,
It's one guy. He's having a little trouble flying. Oh, he's a lot lighter now. And then I drop you off behind the borders of North Korea, and you do reconnaissance, and then I fly back in. You
don't
need
s-
me,
I'm
and I need
invisible.
you. This is the team.
That's the beauty of it, right?
Is this not been done before? Like in a comic book?
This has been done
Flyboy and what? I'm Flyboy. And
Flyboy and an invisible dude.
no, we need something.
Comic
better.
book?
What's another term for invisibility?
Transparent.
Flyboy and transparent, not the show on Amazon. We have to like specify that.
Right.
Flyboy and transparent.
Fun fact, Sue Storm, the invisible woman, can make other things invisible.
This is a real woman?
Up to 40,000.
You said it like it was Sue Storm, the invisible woman from Vermont. She has the power.
She's one of the Fantastic Four.
She's gonna be on this show.
She can make objects invisible up to 40,000 cubic feet in volume. She can make invisible.
Now that's a good power. Because I'm just being honest with you, I wouldn't accept invisibility if it made things that came in contact with me invisible. Because I don't want to walk around naked. I mean, I do.
You mean the opposite then? You would want things you come in contact with to become invisible. Like
yeah,
Frodo.
I said I wouldn't take invisibility unless that was a condition of it. I want my clothes to be invisible.
It would be harder to haunt mean people that way.
While naked?
No, if everything you touched became invisible, because then you couldn't make the stapler like levitate.
I think you have the power
turn it off,
to turn
and
it on. Turn it
with
off.
a clapper though.
That's a problem.
Right, but
You
that's
don't wanna
the
make
catch
noise.
22 of it.
The rules that John Hodgman set down were that for flight you can go up to 1,000 miles per hour, and for invisibility, your clothes and anything on your body is invisible, but anything you pick up is visible. That's what he proposed to people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was smart.
In my
Maybe
argument,
maybe we should have specified that.
Yeah, every
1,000 miles per hour. Hold on. That's fast. That's faster than a jet, man.
yeah, when you land, there's gonna be like bugs and bird feces all over you.
That's easily taken care of with the suit and the helmet, like a Rocket Man type situation. But 1,000 miles an hour, I can get all the way to North Carolina in like 2.5 hours, assuming that I don't get tired. But
Can't assume that.
well, Superman doesn't get tired. He's like
But he's super.
he's pulling that fly power from somewhere. I take some granola bars and put them in my fanny pack.
Some gorilla bars?
Granola.
Gorilla bars, those like things you put on your back to hold luggage.
So I would still.
I would still. Else I missed here in my notes.
And you're talking about the fighting crime thing. No, I wouldn't fight crime with flight, and you wouldn't fight crime with invisibility either. We would all use these things to just get a leg up personally. That's what we would end up doing. And
until
the temptations,
our conscience would get the best of us, and then you would have nothing to do.
What? The Invisible Man, transparent, would have nothing to do. Flyboy is still Flyboy because he just flies. And sure, if I'm in the area and there's like something on a shelf, really high shelf, or there's a cat in a tree, I'll help you out. But I'm not gonna be like on radio. Like I'm not gonna have a red phone that the police commissioner calls. And I'll be like, Flyboy out. Not a superhero. I just can fly. Let me clarify.